change your perception. Reality is malleable as you can bend it. Everybody is a villain in another story. But don't get wrong when you're around the game. In the wake of your once and for all, with the flames of mistakes waking up the remains of your soul. For the sake of the end, follow the man, just clean up your fucking
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Uncovering the Underground Radio, brought to you by First Angel Media and Brutal Business Entertainment. As always, I'm your host, Skippy Ickum, and I'm glad to have you listening in tonight. Whether you're first time or a repeat listener, we want to thank you for tuning in. Make sure you click the like, share, and follow buttons to all the platforms that you're listening to us from iHeartRadio to iTunes, Spotify, and everything in between. The more you click those like and follow buttons, the more it gets us out there to the podcast community, and the more that we're able to move up those rankings. So it'd really be appreciated. We do bring you a show each and every week, Thursday nights, 8 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great guest each and every week, from rappers to bands, models, actors, everything in between. So make sure you check us out, both past and present, releases that we're putting out, and find something that strikes you and resonates with you, because there's certainly something for everybody. Tonight we have Aurora and Peril. We're going to jump into them in just a minute, so stick around. An Ontario alternative rock band that I'm glad to have on the show tonight. I love their stuff. Want to pick their brains a little bit and find out what makes them tick. But before we do that, I do want to thank our sponsors, Tattooed Scumbag Apparel. You can check them out at tattooedscumbag.com. Promo code BBE10 for 10% off your overall order. From hoodies to beanies, to socks, to sweatpants, you name it, they make it. I wear it when I'm on stage, I wear it laying around the house, and when I'm running errands. I love their gear. It's quality made clothing. It supports a local entrepreneur in the Pittsburgh area, so I certainly like it. If you want to help him out, check out his site, find something that resonates with you, like I said, and use promo code BBE10 for 10% off your order. We do want to thank Roush Designs, Legion Artworks, 5 Milligram Artworks, and R3 Graphics for everything that they do for the show and for Brutal Business. And lastly, for all your Brutal Business entertainment updates, check out www.teambrutalbusiness.com. Everything from our modeling to our events, our video game stream team, paranormal team, horror review column, and the radio shows. Check us out. We always got some great content coming out for you. So let's go ahead and jump into tonight's guest. Aurora and Peril, an alternative rock band with a fairy tale inspired name, is putting out fresh music to connect with. Based out of North Bay, Ontario, the band officially released their first extended play record on November 29th, 2019. The band features Jessica Marlowe on lead vocals, Ben Long on guitar, Robin Marlowe on bass, and Chris Boaro, as we talked about earlier. On drums, inspired by the strong front woman of Paramore, Evanescence, and Hellstorm, the band has an emotive alternative sound with pop-punk and industrial influences. The album is a cohesive production that holds the energy of the song's material as a top priority. Aurora in Peril features vocals that are powerhouse captivating, giving out a wide range in delivery from deep chest voice to a high falsetto. The band's music is also defined by melodic precision style guitar work that is supportive of their compositions as a whole, with groovy bass lines that push the songs forward, completing the band's sound. The drums brings forth an interplay with the other instruments to create a solid sense of motion. With plenty of passion, energy, and angst, Aurora in Peril puts out concrete music for listeners to listen to. Check them out on all major streaming services and in a town near you soon on tour. So without further ado, I want to bring you Aurora in Peril. How you guys doing tonight?
We're good, thank you.
It's been a crazy process getting you guys on here. We had a little bit of technical difficulties prior to the show. We went through some trials and tribulations, but you are here, and I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight for a great show. So Ontario, Canada, we were talking about before the show. It's wild. I'm glad to have you guys on. We were talking, I don't have a lot of guests from Canada on the show. I had a lot from other countries and from the U.S., but you were my first Canadian guest, I believe.
Oh, fantastic.
Awesome.
So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about who you are? I like to start traditional on the show and say, who is Aurora in Peril? How did you guys come to be? What made the road that is now you guys? It could be any one of you.
Yeah, we basically started out as me being a solo artist with Ben on guitar, and we were going to do like a folk sort of thing for a while, and then as we continued on, I met up with Ben, I think it was June of 2019, and then I think it was in around end of August or early September that we decided that we wanted to put a band behind, and that's when things started coming forward. I think it was September, right, guys?
Yeah, about that.
End of September.
Yeah, end of September. And then as we continued, things just kept getting heavier and heavier, and we were no longer a folk band. So
that has a tendency to happen a lot of times. You start out as one thing, you think you have it figured out, you start playing, and it's good, but then it starts to craft into something completely different.
That's exactly what happened. I mean, the majority of our songs were written acoustically or on the ukulele and that sort of thing, and they're definitely not that way now.
Not as much uke now.
You guys not throwing too much ukulele in anymore, or what?
No. I mean, I use it to write the songs, but then they turn it into something better.
You know what? I like to do it backwards sometimes. There's times where I've written some really awesome riffs on electric guitar, and then I like to go and play them on acoustic and learn how to switch it a little bit, but play a heavy style acoustic, and people really dig that when they hear it, because you're shredding on it, but it's not that vibe. It gives a completely different feel to it. So you doing it the opposite way, I like it. You can really make it work for you either way.
It's really out of musical laziness, because when you're playing acoustic, you have to be clean and play it really well.
You do.
Once I throw some distortion on there, I can make all the mistakes, and they're less noticeable.
They are. If you know how to cover it up, you can cover it up. If you don't, the fans are still going to notice it. But if you know how, if you're doing a transition, you slip up on a note, you can kind of bring it back if you know how to cover it.
Throw a little delay on and no one notices anything.
Exactly. Everybody bobs their head. You're the only one that knows. You're like, man, they all can see it, and not one person in the crowd has an idea.
Yep.
That's crazy. So you guys have been, you formed, later portion of 2018, you said, correct?
2019.
2019.
We're very new.
So when you guys came out with your EP, then, which we're going to talk about, that was around the same time. So it was like a straight progression into forming of the band, releasing of the EP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the EP actually sort of came first. What happened was myself and my business partner, Amanda, who does most of the work, and I just kind of play guitar. But anyway, we started a record label, and we were looking for singers, and we put out an ad just saying, we're looking for people. If anyone's interested, contact us, and we'll see what happens. So Jessica had contacted us and sent us some videos, and we were like, oh, she's really good at singing. We should try and make her sign with us. So we talked to her, and the original idea, like she said, was kind of to do a folk duo thing, and we were supposed to be finding a guy who could play guitar and sing harmonies, and kind of it was going to be very Civil Wars-y, up that kind of alley.
Okay.
And so, but we didn't find a guitar player, so I was just kind of, well, I'll play along in the meantime because I can play guitar, and you're not going to get the harmonies, but there'll be a guitar. And then we kept not finding a guitar player, and the more we talked about it, we wanted kind of more energy in the songs and stuff to be more exciting. So we started, like we'd throw a little drum beat in the background on a recording, and I'll be like, oh, well, now it needs to have an electric guitar. Okay, now that drum beat doesn't really work, it needs to go heavier. And yeah, that's how we ended up with a rock record.
Okay. I like it though. Like I said, you can never depict the end of the road until you get there. You think you know which direction you're going to go in, and it can really shift on you, especially when it's a collaboration effort. If it's you as a solo artist, that's one thing. Things will still change on you. But when you're a band, you really can't say, because everyone in the band is a moving piece of that puzzle. And as time goes on, everyone changes a little bit musically, personally. So as they change, their way of playing, their style changes, and the band changes. So it's like an ever-growing thing, just like a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, completely.
But I like what it grew into. You guys are really dope. So I think that the fans are certainly going to like you tonight. So stick around, folks. Here in a few minutes, we are going to jump into a song. Now tell us how you came up with the name.
Chris?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, we were just like stargazing this one night, and then took a boat ride to an island, and there was just all these ants going this one direction, and then they just spelled out Aurora and Peril. It was just nuts.
That's how it came together, eh?
Yeah,
Nice.
that's exactly what it was. It was a crazy night.
It sounds like it might have been. Hey, that, as long as it's a story for you guys, that's all that matters. Everybody's got
pretty close to the right thing.
Close enough. It came to me in a dream.
Okay.
It's what really happened. I'm like a huge Disney fan, and I think it has something to do with that, because Aurora is in Sleeping Beauty, and she's in Peril in Sleeping Beauty, and Maleficent just happened to be my favorite villain. So I was having a dream, and I was trying to figure out a band name, and that's what came to me in the dream, so we just went with it.
You know what, though? They come to you in odd ways. That's what I love about any project that you have to create a name for. If it's not your actual name as like a solo artist or something like that, when you create a band name, an artist name, you put a lot of thought into it, at least most of the time, and it always comes to you in strange ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. It come to you in a dream. Mine's just been like seeing things out. Like I see a billboard with one word that just stands out to me, and then I'm thinking about this new project that I'm starting, and I see a couple other words, and things just start to kind of blend together, and then it ends up forming something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always something like a weird thing that's like, well, that shouldn't have stood out, but it did, and magic.
Magic, that's it. Booyah.
Yeah.
Now, talking about magic, I want to jump into a song pretty soon from the start. I like the people to hear what it is you guys do. We have 3 tracks of yours. Which would we like to start with? I have Hair Flip, Silly Boy, and Generic Love Song.
Well, we usually start our sets with Generic Love Song, so why don't we do that?
All right, folks, you heard it. This is Generic Love Song by Aurora and Peril. We'll be right back on Uncovering the Underground.
Shines bright like you do. The wind is blowing by, no one moves me like you do. The air is warm tonight, no one wants me like you do. The waves are crashing by, I wanna crash right into you.
All right, guys, we are back on Uncovering the Underground radio show. As always, I'm your host, Skippy Ickum, and that was Aurora and Peril's song, Generic Love Song. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that specific jam, guys?
Well, that was one of them that was started on ukulele. I had written it at home, actually, with the help of my daughter, who is 5. And I came in with the song, played it on the ukulele for them, and then I said, I don't know if you guys can do anything with this. So we recorded what I had, and then maybe a half hour later, they sent over the new guitar for it, and it was just like a completely different song. But basically, the generic love song, when we were talking about the songs that I wanted to write for the EP, I said, I want to write a generic love song. So that's where that came from.
Let's call it generic love song.
Yeah.
Hey, once again, it comes to you in funny ways. Like I said, it just hits you. When it hits you, you know it hits you. You're like, that's it. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
No, I dig it a lot. So you guys put out the EP at the end of last year. How many tracks are on that?
There are 6.
6 total. Okay. Now, you said you guys kind of put that together pre-deciding to actually go out as a band.
Yeah.
Yeah, the majority of it was.
Okay.
It started before we decided that there was going to be a full band, and then it kind of started becoming a full band process. And Chris actually got in and played on one of the songs, so we had a band before.
There
It
was technically
finished,
a band.
but it was kind of in the process.
That makes sense. Now,
Ben played most of the drums on the actual EP. I'm just on the one because that's how late I was to the party.
you were late to the party, but that's all right. You're here for the next one. Front and ready.
Okay.
Now, what is the plans for going forward? You guys obviously released that now. You guys are taking this serious. You're starting to push yourselves. What do you see happening here soon? I know that there was mention in the bio of maybe a possible tour coming near, maybe near us soon. What's the plan?
Well, that tour idea has been postponed for, a little bit now.
Well, that would be true too, yes.
Yeah. We're working on a few. We're writing some songs and working on a couple fun covers to throw up online, and kind of we're doing as much as we can from everyone maintaining a distance from each other.
Yeah, because here we have to have our gatherings under 5 people, other than the people in your household. So technically, we're not supposed to gather, and that would be illegal for us to gather as a band right now.
Mm-hmm.
So until those restrictions are lifted, we can't actually play in person. So we're doing everything through Facebook Messenger right now.
Okay. Hey, you know what you got to do to survive during times like this. I mean, it is a challenging and unprecedented time. I mean, who can think of not being able to go to your bandmate's house and play, or do a practice or play together? You know what I mean? You can't do that now. You're locked in. You're trapped. I mean, it's a strange thing to be a part of that.
Yes.
Certainly we'll never forget, and we'll see what happens from this point forward. But it's been trying in a lot of ways. I mean, the amount of concerts and tours and things that have been canceled at this point. I guess my question to you guys, talking about that subject, is: do we see it going back to normal?
I would say so.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it'll ever be like. I think it'll always be slightly different. I mean, live shows will be a thing again.
Yes.
We'll be playing again at some point. It might be, from what I'm hearing, most bands, like bigger bands that are planning stuff, that have to plan stuff far out, they're all planning summer of 2021 and beyond.
Yeah.
Where they're starting to plan things. But because our stuff, at this level doesn't get planned out so far ahead, we can probably, maybe by the end of this year, start playing, maybe into next year, hopefully.
I think as long as the stage is big enough for us to be 6 feet apart, we'll be playing very soon.
I mean, our last show that we did was even technically different for us because we all had our own microphones.
Oh,
yeah. We made sure that we had sanitizer and everything. I mean, like our last show was
Before he locked it down, right?
like 2 days before they locked everything down.
And they canceled every other show in town, and we just happened to be playing in the place that didn't care.
That's
Yeah.
good though. You should be happy to be
True.
playing in that place. Like that's what's up. Is everybody else is shutting down, and you still get to get one last hoorah in before everything goes to shit.
Oh, yeah.
It was
That's probably the funnest show we had to play yet, too. And
True.
then, boom, there. Bring on the COVID, you know? Like,
It man, what a game changer. That's it's certainly been, like you said. Obviously, I think at some point music is going to come back its full swing as far as playing. But I think it could be strange with what venues and states and regulation rules there will be as far as capacity levels. Because
Yes.
you might see like, well, you know what, we can normally hold 800 people in this club. We're going to cut it down to 500. And then it's spread out, and then when you're playing, it doesn't seem like it's as big of a crowd, because obviously it isn't. It feels kind of hollow in it a little bit, and then it causes friction in the scene. So I think there will certainly be some backsplash, you know, some ripples that we get from that or from this, but we'll just have to adapt and overcome, I guess.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
what I'm wondering is how do you start a wall of death when you have to stay 6 feet apart? It
Exactly.
doesn't work that way, right?
yeah.
Wall deaths is shit. Talking about wall deaths, there's been some good times. But Lamb of God used to be able to do that. I used to go see them quite a bit and join into their wall of death all the time before they kind of made that against the law, you know what I mean? Because all that stuff that happened in Europe. But what a wild thing, man. You know, imagine being the band that has that much control to just spread the sea and be like, go ahead and kill each other now.
Brutal.
Brutal stuff, absolutely. So, you guys, you know, have been a band a short amount of time, and you know you're starting to build off of that, really, you know, gain momentum. And you said once things kind of lift, you're gonna, you know, see what gates that opens and what doors that opens for you as things kind of come back to a normalcy. What would be the ultimate plan for you guys? Is this something you want to kind of stay indie level, or do you want to take this, you know, full force and become famous? Because there's no right or wrong answer on that. I mean, everybody has their own prerogative on what they want to do as a band. What are your guys' plans on that?
I think realistically, just staying at the indie level, I've always sort of said that I wanted to be like local famous. It's been very, very cool, like getting attention from other places. Because of Music Mania, we have been speaking to people all over the place, which is very cool in itself. But I mean, just based on like family life and work life and that sort of thing, I think realistically indie, but I mean, the sky's the limit. You never know what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with sky's the limit. I'd be good doing indie, but I'm good for going as high and as far as I can go.
Yeah, I think we're kind of on that spot where we're all adults and we all kind of have careers and lives and stuff going on. But I mean, really, we're all musicians. If someone's like, here's some money, you'll never have to worry about your bills, and you can just go play music for the rest of your life. None of us are turning that down.
No.
Well, that's a good question I want to ask you, and I ask every guest that comes on the show. I usually do it a little bit later in the show, but you just segued right into that perfectly. If you had the option, and you can answer as a band or individually, I think we'll do individually, but if you had an option of picking, making a massive hit that financially sets you for life, that you are always known and recognized from, I mean, it is a monster hit. But every other song that you put out after that, everyone compares to that one song, and they feel that they're all trash compared to that song? Or do you take the option of writing great quality songs after song after song after song, just killer tunes, but no matter how hard you market it and push it and promote it and play it, it just seems like no one's hearing it. Like no one cares. Everyone treats it like it's garbage, but you guys know it's a hit. Which would you choose as an individual? Let's start with actually, I'm going to do Rob. I'm going to start with you.
Well, I play bass, so I'm pretty simple-minded. Honestly, I'm just doing this for fun. I've never thought I'd be on stage in my life, to be honest. The way I started was just being voluntold to play bass.
Answer the question, man.
So, yeah, to me, playing fair quality music. That's pretty much the way we're going at it right now, and I don't think it needs to change.
Okay,
Secret.
I dig it.
Have to do the second.
Yeah, sure.
And then Jessica, let's go to you. What would your choice be?
I think I'd be the same. The being known for something is good, but then I think being let down every single time after that is not something that I'd want to put myself into. If I know that I'm putting out quality music, I think that's better than just doing a one-hit wonder.
And you, Ben?
Well, if it depends. Is the situation that we're actually writing shitty music after, or are we writing the same music? It's just no one cares.
You caught the great part of the question. Some people ask that, some people don't.
Because if it's writing the same music and no one cares, give me that hit. Like if I feel like I'm playing good music, and I have the chance of having one hit, or I can play the same music and have no hits at all, I'll take that one hit every time. Jimmy Eat World are not sad about the middle being huge. 10 albums into their career, I tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're still jamming your music, you still have passion and love for what you do. Then at the end of the day, you're still happy. If people always compare you to that song, hey, that's on them, because if they were a true fan, they would know there's more to it than that.
Yeah, you're right.
And what about you, Chris?
But even still with that.
Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
If I
I
had
cut out a
one
little
song
bit.
that impacted people that much. Oh, I was just saying, if I have one song that impacted someone enough that they're going to remember it for the rest of my life, I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely go for the one hit. I mean, I can write great music all the time, but if somebody is like really interested in one in particular song, I'm totally for it. I mean, I love it when something that I do makes somebody think differently.
Yeah, I agree. Songs can change lives, man. And I mean, honestly, I explained this on one of the other episodes several weeks back, that if you asked me this question 2 different times in life, you would get 2 different answers. If you asked me 10, 15 years ago, would I ever be willing to pick an option of a one-hit wonder in money and fame over being true to myself and writing the best songs I've ever written, but no one care, and I would have told you it'd be hardcore to the death of me. I would never consider selling out or anything like that. And then now if you ask me later in life, I've got to play, I've got to tour, I've got to do a lot of great things, and it's like, you know, I think I would take the one-hit wonder because I would still always put out music to myself. It couldn't be bad because I'm always going to put my heart into it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you know what, then I'm set for life, and then it means my kids are set for life. That means that my wife and everybody else is set for life, and I still get to play music. I'm like, you know what, compare me to that one song all the time. That's cool. Someone else said a couple weeks ago that it's kind of the same thing you guys said. You know, ask Vanilla Ice if he cares that you make fun of him and say Ice Ice Baby. He's still living off that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, you guys talked about the Music Mania contest. You guys got involved with Devil Inside Records, or they like to now be called DI Records, and they put on this year's 2nd annual Music Mania competition. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that competition you guys entered, so the fans know, and then tell us about you guys winning.
Amanda, my partner, was the one that found it, and she was like, "Hey, you guys should enter this contest." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, we're in Northern Ontario, and it's in the States. That makes perfect sense. Let's do that." And we did it, and we got an incredible amount of support. Like I was blown away by the amount of people who took time to support us at the different stages, because it was, for those who don't know, it was a voted contest where they'd have, I think, a group of bands, and whoever got the most votes
moved on to the final.
And yeah, so in the final round, I forget how many votes we got, but I was like, I think the band that won the other heat got like 1,000 votes or something. And I was like, oh, there's no way we're going to get 1,000 votes. Like, people just aren't going to.
Because the previous round we just got over 400.
Yeah. Okay, so they
Which I was-
your fans really came out when they really needed to.
Oh, yeah.
Friends, family, everything.
That's awesome though to go into a competition, being from a different country, being the underdog, and feeling like when you're going in, like we'll enter it, but what's the point? And then walking out the victors, that says a lot.
It was really surprising.
And I think the band that you beat out, I believe, which we actually had as our last guest last week, was Ultraviolet.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're a good band to listen to too, and check out. I'm glad I came across both you guys. I know Dakota, who owns DI Records, and he had asked me, "Hey, I'm doing the second year of this contest. Would you like to give out some prizes and things for it?" And I was happy to give a couple spots away on the show and get to meet you guys and get to meet those guys. Great bands that I think people certainly need to hear, and I'm excited for you guys for winning the competition and all the networking and connection that's probably brought you.
Yeah, thanks. It's been really cool that way.
No, absolutely, and it'll lead to lifelong things. It spirals because through that one person, you might meet 3 other connections, and then 3 other connections, and you're like, wow, it all started here and it led to here. It's a funny road.
Yeah.
Now, something we've talked about a lot of times on the show, and I think it's a great topic with how trends have changed over the last several years, in the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. With digital to or I should say from, CDs to digital to people releasing albums to now more singles only. What are your guys' thoughts on, what's happening in the industry right now? A lot of times you don't even need an album anymore. There's a lot of people getting by simply releasing singles. And a lot of people are getting away from the standard printing out CDs, especially in an underground level. People are getting away from printing out CDs and selling more digital USB drives with their music on it. I've seen all kinds of strange things happening lately. What do you take on that?
It's a tragedy. I miss CDs.
I think CDs were the best format there's been. Just technologically, that it provides the best sound quality. You actually get a physical thing. I really like CDs, but I'm not one of those like old school purist guys because there's all the people who are like, no, vinyl's better. No, as an audio engineer, I can tell you CDs are better because what I hear is what the person listening to it hears. On vinyl, there's always the change in what I hear gets changed by the medium. CDs were the cleanest medium there was.
Yeah.
The nice thing about going digital, though, is it is really easy to share everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like instantaneous. If you release a song, you can share it to anyone in the world, and it's just, they don't have to wait for it. They just have it, and it's just, that part I really do like.
I think I missed hype though, because I remember when I was younger and like, let's say like when I first started listening to music, there was cassettes and I would get excited for the next like Britney Spears cassette to come out. And then eventually like throughout my teen years or whatever, like I would get so excited for somebody's CD to come out and get so excited when it was in my stocking at Christmas or stuff like that. And I think we miss that now, just a little bit.
We do. No, it's instant. We've become a culture, and this has been talked about before, is that we become a culture of instant gratification, where it used to be if you wanted that CD as a kid, you had to save up the money to get it. You had to go cut the neighbor's lawn. You had to then go ask your mom for a drive to the mall or to the CD store. You went in and you just felt like you were on top of the world looking at all these cool CDs, and music was so cool to you. And you start looking through the albums, you're like, I only have enough money for one. Which one do I pick? And then whenever you would get it and you'd come home, you'd rip off the cellophane and you'd take off the sticker off the album and you'd open it. You'd have that CD smell. You'd pull out the disc and look at it. You'd grab the booklet and read the thank you section from the band. That is dead. That is gone. Now you want a CD. Oh, wow, did you hear so-and-so dropped a CD last night? No, I didn't. 15 seconds later, click. Well, I just have it downloaded to my phone. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's great. It's instant. You can get music and you can discover more artists, which is awesome. But it took that magic that really came along with the music, it just killed it instantly. And it's like, well, how many times do you jump into an artist, listen to half the CD, and before you can finish, another CD that you wanted to hear comes out, you jump to that, then you jump to another one, you never heard the ending of that one CD, only to come to find out that maybe that last song on the album is the best song that they've ever released.
No, exactly.
And
Well,
that's a shame.
Me personally, when we like to go to a lot of like little concerts and stuff, and one of the ones that convinced me to get back into music, like I wanted to just give them a tip, but I ended up buying a CD, and like we don't even really have a CD player. We don't, but it's like I listen to their stuff on Spotify, but I wanted to physically own their CD because there's still a part of me that gets excited for stuff like that.
Oh, and there's still definitely a nice group of people that do that. I still have fans that hit me up quite often to buy the CDs just for the nostalgia, just for the, hey, I'm a CD collector and I want to have your album because I love the content. I have it on Spotify. It's downloaded. That's where I listen to it from, but I want your CD for my collection.
Exactly.
And I dig that because that's a dying breed. There's not a whole lot of that left, and you fast forward another 10 years and that's probably gone. That'll be as rare as the people out there collecting records right now.
Mm-hmm.
Digital's
in 20
the way,
years,
I
it'll
guess.
become cool again.
It'll become cool again. We'll all be wiped off the face of the earth by then, and there'll be a whole new race, and they'll love CDs.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Now, with that being said, it kind of goes hand in hand with that. There's been a change of going on foot and really doing legwork to get yourselves out there to, the internet's endless with possibilities to be big and never even play a show, to do all kinds of different things that you couldn't do prior to internet. What are your thoughts on, do you believe that social media and the direction that music is going and the rapidity of it, where it's just boom, 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 boom with new content and all these artists and all these stations, or do you think that can be a downside and a hindrance in a way?
It's a double-edged sword, honestly, because the social media aspect of it can be so good for marketing and getting your name out there and networking, but slip up once and you just lost it all.
Yeah.
There's so many, keyboard warriors, and they talk about things that they would never say to your face. And I think people will say things on the internet now and not think twice about it and not realize that they have ramifications. And I think that is a hindrance, but so it really depends on where you go with it. Like, I know, like Twitter, people say things that they shouldn't on there all of the time, and you can be a huge artist and then you'll lose a crap ton of fans because of that.
Everything's way down. The eyes are watching you.
Exactly. So to me, it's a double-edged sword. Like, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing.
I honestly think that there's just so much out there for people to see that it's good for a little bit, but just because anybody could see any band at any time, it kind of dumbs down the amount of people that it could reach, right?
Yeah.
Like there's thousands upon millions of different bands that have ever played, right? So, and their music is all out there. So, I mean, it's hard to really get too far and make people listen when there's all that right there.
Yeah, It is. It's so much content. And that's the double-edged side for me, is that it helps people get out there. It opens up a lot of doors. But now you are one among millions rather than prior to the internet, one amongst thousands. And
exactly.
That makes it difficult. And yeah, maybe all of those millions are garbage and it's only a few thousand that are worth anything, but they still got to cipher through all of that garbage to find the hidden gems, and now it's harder. Sometimes you just wouldn't see it because it was so far away. Well, now it's right in front of you, but it's just under mounds and mounds of dirt that you got to sift through. So it like you said, it's a very double-edged sword. And it does bring a lot of people that would say a lot of things about your music, about just anything that they would never say in real life.
Exactly.
I think it does a couple, actually. The other one side of it is it allows, like, for example, 20 years ago when I was a teenager playing in small punk bands, every sort of town had its own scene. So there'd be like this, you'd have like the Long Island sound and the Southern California sound and the Florida sound, and Southern Ontario had a bit of a scene in sort of the emo pop punk thing for a while. And so you got these really cool pockets of different stuff happening, where nowadays you don't get that same localized thing, because if, something cool is happening in LA, everyone hears it.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of influences everyone. So you kind of get, it almost sort of homogenizes everything a little bit, because you don't have these pockets of cool things where one or two bands will come out of, like Nirvana being sort of the leader of the grunge movement coming out of Seattle, where you had Pearl Jam and Soundgarden stuff come with them.
But it was that pocket, because grunge all, like you said, it all came from one area. Seattle was the epicenter for grunge.
Yeah.
And everyone came from there. And I mean, that was the pocket. Now, like you said, it's you don't have that.
Yeah. And it's I think it's kind of a shame that you lose out on that, but it's cool in that, if I like, we live in Northern Ontario, I live in a town of 700 people. There was no other kids who like punk music in my town. So it was kind of like, there's no scene here. But through the starting of the internet, I could sort of like, watch Taking Back Sunday videos and watch, learn about the Descendants and find all these other bands that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So it kind of gives kids a chance to find something they like if they don't want to fit into whatever mainstream is around them. So it has kind of that cool ability now to do that for people too. So it's, there's good and bad with it.
I like that. I like that aspect though, as far as, kids, let's say kids out there who need something to turn to, you know what I mean? They need that saving grace, and where do they go? They go to their music. But when you were, us as kids, you had to wait to go to the CD store. So on the opposite end of that coin is, it was nice waiting and the anticipation, but at the same time, if you're going through a really hard time and you need some new jams right now to help you get through it, you can't get to the CD store, well then, you're screwed. So you can just pop on Spotify and bloop, there's the song, and you listen to it and vibe out. So in that sense, it's nice that there is supply and demand like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like hearing the different side of opinions on it. So let's jump into a second song here. I think the people deserve that out there listening in right now. We do have Hair Flip and Silly Boy. Which one do we want to jump into?
Someone else choose now.
I would say Hair Flip.
Hair Flip?
This is the one with Chris playing drums on it?
Okay. Well, you're about to hear it, folks. This is Chris on the drums, and this is Aurora and Peril. This is Hair Flip. We'll be right back.
Uninvited to a club I had no interest in. Got a hair flip 'cause I'm not the cool one, is that
right, guys, we are back, and that was the song Hair Flip from Aurora and Peril. They are our guests this evening. They are joining us from Ontario, Canada, and we've been hanging out with them for the last hour, getting to find out a little bit about who they are, how they came to be, their music that they've released, and what they got planned for you in the upcoming, months, years. It just depends when everybody can get back to a normalcy, as we said, and start playing music again, but hopefully that's soon, folks. Hang in there. And, I just really want to cover a few other bases tonight before we tune out for the evening. And we just got done, if you didn't hear, folks, talking a big subject of the transition of CDs into MP3s and, the changing over of people no longer selling CDs. Cars don't have CD players in them anymore. It's a wild world we live in. And we were talking about how they push so much on us towards digital these days. So if you have an opinion on that and you were listening in, please comment on the sidebar. If you go through Spreaker.com or the Spreaker app, that's Spreaker, you can drop us a question for our guest tonight. You can leave comments. We want to say hello to Heather for saying good evening. Good evening to you as well. And, just tune in and jump back, listen to the beginning of the episode till now. You can stream these episodes and download them. That way you don't miss a thing. So that was Hair Flip. I want to jump into a couple questions here in a second, but I did want to make sure I recaptivated on that. Hair Flip, what's the story behind that one specifically?
There's a lot of people that piss me off. And then I write songs about them.
Okay.
And that would be one of those people that piss me off.
Okay, so you're just like, you know what, I got a song for you.
Oh yeah, and we're working on a new song, and it's even better, and it's about another person that really, really pissed me off.
Well, that brings a good question. What do you feel, what emotion do you guys feel is the best for writing music? Some people find when they're extremely angry, they can write good. Some people find when they are very sad, it sucks obviously, but when they're very sad and depressed, they write the best music. Some people, it's when they're elated and just happy and loving life and just in a great mood. How do you guys feel when you're making your guitar parts, your drums, your bass licks? What is it that what kind of moods are forming your best material?
Well, for me, it's definitely being angry. I think I get the best material out of myself when I'm heated.
Okay.
For me, it's definitely sad. I mean, I'm an emo kid from the 90s. If I'm not sad, I'm not writing music.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm writing music for, basically it's just random stuff no matter what my mood. I think I play drums probably best when I'm in like a really positive sort of mood. I'm really feeling the beat and everything. But for me, it's just like anything. I can write I write crap a lot, but I mean, it doesn't really matter the mood. I'll still be writing some decent songs.
Okay, I can dig it. Yeah, some people have like a certain vibe that they have to be, and they have to be feeling that. So for those people that like to be really angry, I mean, Jessica, can you write good whenever you're in like an elated mood, when you're just very happy, like it's just the best day of your life? When you sit down, if you tried to write, would you be able to write pretty good, or would you not? Because I mean, I know I have to be myself in certain type of moods to write, and if I'm not in that mood, I can't write.
I mean, I haven't actually tried it. The majority of the time when I am pissed off, there's just certain lines and words that come to me randomly, and that's when I start I have like a notepad on my phone and I go to town on that, and then that's honestly the majority of where our songs are coming from, is from those moments where I just want to punch a wall, but I put it into my phone instead. But I mean, that should be an exercise for me. If I'm in a good mood, I should sit down and write.
I was just going to say, I should give you a homework assignment if you don't mind, and say that next time you are just in an ecstatic mood, that you're not in the middle of doing something. And the thing is, you got to like kind of tell yourself, because if it's a happy moment, you're just really good mood. If you have 5 to 10 minutes away from anybody else and you can just sit down and grab a notebook or a notepad, go to town. I say try it and see what it results, and you might look at it afterwards, the day later, and be like, wow, that's the worst thing I ever made. Or you might look at it and say, whoa, like, look at this. hey guys, I just wrote a new song for us. You know what I mean? Like it will really change your aspect of writing.
Yeah, I'll definitely try it.
I think, I mean, just to be, contradict Jess on her own ideas. I think Generic Love Song is our most popular song. It seems like that's kind of the one that most people seem to like. And I would hope that didn't come out of a place of anger.
No, it didn't. I mean, I sat down on my bed, and like I said, my daughter Danielle was in the room with me, and we were talking about, because it says the sun, the moon, the stars, and I was asking her, like, what should I write about? She said the snow. So I said, okay, what about the snow? Well, it's beautiful. I said, okay. So that's where that came from. So I guess I was in a pretty good mood then.
Well, I think what you're saying is, see, that a lot of times doesn't translate to people, is just because you have to be in an angry mood to write doesn't mean that what you write in that angry mood has to be angry.
Mm-hmm. True.
And that's what a lot of people think, like, oh, she's angry, she's writing, death metal, she's writing heavy metal. No, you could write the most beautiful song you've ever written in your life being angry as hell. Just like you can be in a great mood and be laughing and smiling and just loving life and write the most brutal, insane lyrics that have ever been written. It's just, there's no bounds to that. That's just the motivator for you is that anger. Your anger is your gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people's gasoline. It's certainly been mine. My music's very angry, though, so, I mean, it makes sense that the anger kind of translates into it. We got a comment popping in here. I like this line of questioning because I've never really thought about this. I always just thought the people wrote when something inspired them. I never thought about being in a certain mood to write. Well, there you go, and I can kind of give that perspective as I am an artist, and I think about that kind of thing. Is this just like, what mood do you have to be? Because if I write very dark underground hip hop, and it's like if I'm doing that and I'm trying to write a very, very dark song, it's hard for me to be in a bubbly mood. It's just the way I am. Some people are fine with that. I can't be. I mean, I can be. I don't have to be depressed or anything, but I can't be in like I want to go hug everyone right now and love them, and then be like writing this evil devil music. You can't hail Satan when you're in a happy mood.
No.
I think the big thing for me is, like, lyrical content depends on mood for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find happy lyrics come across cheesy, and I probably, I think I just don't like cheesy music, so I probably write about the same in every mood. I just don't like what I write when I'm in a happy mood. But musically, because I teach and know music theory and pretty good depth, that I can simulate any sort of mood musically at any time. So I don't need to feel angry to write a heavy song, or sad to write a slow song, or happy to write a bouncy song. I can do those anytime, but for words I find it takes really, I can only write the mood I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Ben's a cyborg.
No, but that makes sense. I like that aspect, though, is from where he's coming from. I mean, if I'm playing guitar, that's true. I can sit down in any type of mood, angry, sad, happy, and just jam, and I love it. It doesn't matter, and I can write good content. But when I'm writing lyrics, it's a certain type of thing. Now, I don't have to necessarily be angry to write an angry song, but it is different, though, when it comes to writing the actual vocalization and thought of feeling. I have to almost put myself kind of in that feeling, and not always, but I mean, I do agree with that.
Yeah, especially like melodies, because just whatever naturally comes to your head, if you're in that mood already, it's just easier to make something that evokes that mood.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You got to clear your head though sometimes on those melodies. I like to meditate. I'm a firm meditator. I do every single day. I meditate for an hour in the morning at 5 a.m. and it's something that clears my head. So when I write, you can put yourself right where you need to be to create. Whether it be for that day, whether it be for that week, you can do certain exercises mentally to place yourself in that frequency that you need to be in for that. So if you're writing a certain type of love song, you can really place your mind level and where you're at that week at this high level to do that.
Yeah.
It's like another tool.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do to kind of trick your mind, like, get your body into whatever state you need to be in. A big thing, like just from recording people, a lot of times you'll get people to do weird things in the process of recording vocals. And then, you'll be like, do this in this really crazy, weird way.
Like when you got me to sing like Cookie Monster?
Yeah.
Oh, Cookie Monster's a thing. Trust me, I've Cookie Monstered many times.
Yeah. I mean, this was on, I forget what song it was on, but we just were trying to get a little more rough tone out of her voice. So I was like, okay, sing it like Cookie Monster. And she was like, no, that's stupid. I'm like, and I think Amanda was there, and she's like, why? That's not going to sound good. I'm like, just trust me and do it. So she did it, and it kind of, changed her mood, and it got her voice used to doing something different, and it kind of, it threw her in the ability to do, and we ended up, I think we used the take that came right after Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
I've used so many different sounds and voices on dubs in my music as for certain layering parts that just seem weird. They're just a strange one-off by themselves, and you're like, well, why do you need to put that there? But once you take it away and listen and you put it back in, people are like, oh, yeah, that's why that needed to be there. Sometimes and I think, the Cookie Monster makes an appearance in everybody's music. I know, like I said, he's certainly dropped into mine a few times where I've had to do some really it's really strange, sounds in the middle of the song that don't seem like they would have any place there. But you know what? It really made the overall sounding of the track.
Yeah.
Oh my, Cookie Monster! Shout out to him. Much love for the Cookie Monster. Now, you guys are talking about recording, so how did that process go with this last album? What's the plan with the new album? I mean, do you guys mainly do most of the work yourselves? Do you plan on outsourcing and going to a studio on this one? What are the thoughts going forward on new content now that you released the EP, you kind of came together fully as a band now, and you've started to craft and merge your sound? What's going forward as far as recording? What are our plans?
Our next stuff we'll probably keep doing in-house, just because we're signed to my record label and I'm cheap and don't want to pay other people to do stuff I can do.
Okay, makes sense.
But yeah, we outsource some stuff. We might get another guy to do record the drums if we aren't completely happy with how they turn out in the two locations that we have regular access to.
Hardest thing to record.
Yeah. And I've in my basement, it's kind of a long, narrow basement, so it's good for certain types of drums, but it doesn't work for everything. And then our main studio location is not a great acoustic environment for anything that needs room sounds.
Okay.
So it works for guitar where you can, chamber off the guitar or put a vocalist into a blanket or whatever you need to do to get the sounds, but for drums where you're relying so much on ambient sounds mixed into it, it's not the best for that. So we have a friend of the band who has the studio. Well, we have a few friends that have studios, so we might outsource drums depending on how they come across.
That makes sense. Take the hassle of the hardest part to mix out of the equation for you guys. You can mix the rest of it, get help on that, so it alleviates a lot of time, because honestly, that's a major time killer right there.
Yeah.
So if you have someone that can just take on that as their main goal and outsource it to them, they take care of it and give you a good package deal on it or a good price or something on that, then you can get that done. You can focus on the guitar, the bass, the vocals, the mixing and mastering and putting it all together. But I would totally be about that. I don't mix and master anymore myself, but yeah, fuck that. I ain't trying to get into doing the drums. Way too much work.
Yeah. Mastering's for me, mastering, I'm not great at it. The last album we actually tried with, I think it was E-Mastered we used.
Okay.
One like the online digital service.
There's one that my buddy used. It was real good, and I can't remember what the hell it's called.
There's a few out there that are pretty good. We might use E-Mastered again. We might try one of the other ones, or hire a proper person to do it. For the last one, we wanted to have it out for a couple shows that we were doing at the end of the year, so time was sort of the essence. So we went that route there. I've been doing a bit of studying of mastering, so maybe I'll try my hand at it again and see how good or terribly it goes, and then make decisions on what to do from there.
No, it makes sense. You got to kind of play the field with it and see, like, mess with it and say, hey, we're good, or nope, this is beyond me. I need to outsource. I mean, if you can do it yourself and it's not going to take up too much time, it does make it nice cost efficiency wise, because that can get expensive very quick. I mean, mastering is obviously not cheap. Depending upon who you go to, it can get very pricey. I mean, you sometimes pay just as much for the mastering as you paid for the whole damn organization of the album and putting the album together and everything. It's the sprinkle on the cake, but it's a very big sprinkle.
Yeah, I mean, it's the hardest of the things to do.
It is.
I find. Like, it's such a fine tuning skill that, like, mixing, oh yeah, like that drum needs to be up higher, and we need to pull the guitar down, and the bass needs some more high end, and the guitar needs some more low end, and with practice, most people can figure that out. But mastering is, it's a whole other beast.
It really is. I never was really good at that side. I could mix, but getting to the mastering part, I always had, a friend or a couple of different buddies that their expertise was in mastering, so I would usually outsource it myself. That's why I said it makes sense if you can have someone do that for the drums. It's just a major time consumer. Yeah. Now, what are you guys into? So I wanted to ask that earlier and didn't get a chance to. What are you into individually aside from music? I mean, obviously we know that Jessica, you do vocals. Robin, you do bass. I mean, obviously that's what you do as the band. But what are your hobbies? What are your passions in life? We'll start with Robin. Let's go with you.
I'm a carpenter, but I don't want to say that's a passion because that's a damn job. But if I was to say what I'd like to do is get every chance I get to go fishing on a boat. That's definitely my outing.
You just won, sir. You just won the grand prize.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fisherman myself, so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the best answer you could aim right there. If I had more time in life, you would catch me fishing a lot more.
Yeah, hopefully I die on a lake somewhere when I'm old.
Yeah, no, there you go. I'm hoping that once I eventually go, that they just spread me out on a lake somewhere, on the river somewhere, my ashes, because I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's about it. I'm pretty safe and pretty basic, so bring me out on a lake, I'm happy, man.
Basic bitch.
And what about you, Jessica?
Well, for work, I actually own a handmade children's clothing company.
Okay.
So I make baby clothes out of my basement, and I've been doing that for about 4 years now, and it's a bit of a passion and work mixed all in one. But I think other than that, it's really always been music, has always been my hobby. I've dabbled in a couple of different things. Like right now I'm really into gardening, and just mainly because I'm stuck in my house. But I'm very creative in nature. I like reading. I like I said, gardening. I enjoy singing, doing all of that. And like my 2 little girls are little mini-me's, and they're 5 and 2, and they can sing better than they can talk.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's basically just been a cornerstone of my life is music.
No, all good things. Everything you named is very good to have in life, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Ben?
I have a few hobbies. I like tech stuff, so for work I do IT stuff. But I like playing hockey too. I'm a good Canadian boy. I grew up playing.
You keep it true to your roots.
Yeah, I like hockey and drinking maple syrup and having a beer from time to time. And and music's a big one. Like, I've just always been played music, so learning new instruments and trying different things and playing in different bands, and music really is kind of most of what I do. Except for in the winter, I play hockey a few nights a week.
Now, you belong. Is it just a couple guys doing a pickup game, or you belong to a league?
Right now, I just do it's an organized pickup game. So it's mostly the same guys that come out, but we just kind of make teams every week. As guys show up, they kind of sign up one side or the other, and we go out and play.
Good times. I used to play myself. I miss it. But unfortunately, I broke my back several years ago, and that just doesn't happen anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hockey kind of went out the window at that point. But
Yeah.
now, if you had to, since you brought up the topic of hockey, who I have to ask a good Canadian hockey player here. Who's your favorite team out there?
I'm a Habs fan.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, I was
Uh,
just to
Bro.
put this in perspective. I was born in '84, which was the Montreal won the cup that year. Then, as I was getting older, they kind of won a few cups by the time I was 10 in my life too. So they were kind of the champions of any local team or any Canadian team in my lifetime.
Oh man, it's crazy. Some of the Canadian teams you have up there, as far as their records of how many cups they've won.
24 for Montreal.
That's,
Or not.
or not, since the 60s.
They haven't in a long time, though.
Yeah, they haven't in a long time, but I mean, and at one point, but the game was a lot different then too, so that's something to consider. I mean, yes, there wasn't as many teams, there also wasn't as fast paced, but there also wasn't as many rules, so that's the opposite side of that. So it was a rough game, but it wasn't as fast paced. I mean, you got people moving on the ice now that are just so quick. I mean, who would have thought 20, 30 years ago you would see players moving like they do today, like Ovechkin and Malkin and Crosby and just all kinds of great players out there that you're like, damn, like where did they come from? Mutants, you know what I mean?
They used to never have the training that they have now. So like guys would, in the off season, they would go play golf as their only form of exercise.
Yeah.
Where now guys hit the gym harder in the off season. And then technology, like the amount that skates have changed in the last 20 years to make people
they've
able to
changed a
skate
lot
faster. The amount that your sticks, like people can shoot way harder with new sticks than when we were kids playing with wood and aluminum sticks.
They're more
coming in.
aerodynamic. Yeah, they really move with with
and
the
the
curve.
composite, like they just flex better and have better whip, and there's just surprisingly a lot of technology that goes into hockey.
Yeah, they sports really well.
Now, I won't get too into the sports talk tonight because I don't want to get too sidetracked. But I'm glad to hear a lot of the things you guys are saying because, I mean, hockey fan myself. I love to read. I love nature. I love the gardening aspect as well. I have a spice garden that I grow that all kinds of different spices. And it's just something fun. I like to bring life to the world. I like to watch something go from a seed to a full-blown either plant or bush, and bring life into this planet. It's a good thing. I love fishing, so I want to hear, Chris. You better impress me, sir. You better say something I'm into because everybody else.
He's
has.
impressive.
I'm the least impressive. No. What I do for hobbies basically. I do a lot of sports. Love playing tennis. Love hockey. Love any sort of sport. Ultimate frisbee, whatever. I also do a lot of martial arts. I teach at a judo club that me and my mom run. I went to school for guitar making, so guitar making and guitar repair is a big thing in my life that I like to do. I mean, I have a shop. I just try and it is definitely a hobby right now, but it's definitely something I'd, like to do a little bit more than a hobby. And I mean, I work at a music store, so that's also kind of a hobby in my mind, even though I'm the assistant manager there and I do a lot with music there. But just, that's me.
It's fun just going into music stores. I mean, it's a good feel when you go in, you sit down and just jam. You know what I mean? Like, not to sell out mom and pop shops, but like anytime I walk into like a guitar center and I have my pick of just hundreds of guitars, I gotta say it's like walking into that CD store again as a little boy. I'm like, all right,
It is the worst. The store that Chris works at offers in-store financing.
Oh no!
And because I teach there, they will let me get away with anything. So I buy way too many things. Chris is like, "Oh, you don't want this? Don't even try it."
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
Fine, I'll buy it.
We're the Canadian Guitar Center, Long and McQuaid. So I mean, pretty awesome.
So you're the same caliber, just different brand or different company. That's awesome, man. I mean, I just love going in and being able to pick different guitars that I never would personally want to own, but I would love to jam out on for a while. Like, a Paul Reed Smith. I personally don't play a Paul Reed Smith and never would, but I like to jam on one.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Recently just picked up another Schecter not too long ago, and it's a really nice guitar. That's what I was telling you guys before the show. They're looking to get my band back together and trying out a new thing. I was an ESP player for a long time, decided to switch it up a bit. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I'm a big Fender guy. Tellys. I think I'm at 6 Tellys now.
Wow. Okay.
And then I have, some Strats and I have a Mustang and a Jaguar and a Jazzmaster, and I have a Gretsch solid body, and I have a Gibson, and
Damn.
I buy too many things.
A little bit of everything.
I would say so. He's like, I built my house out of my guitars.
It's literally my retirement plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people put money into like stocks. They're not doing so well nowadays, but with the Canadian dollar going down, value of my guitars is going up.
Yeah, true. I mean, and as they get older, they're worth more and more and more. So you can hold on to them for a while and then sell a classic for a nice chunk of money.
Yep.
I seen a Stratocaster go for it was like 10.9, so just shy of 11 grand at the one store around here. It sat there for years and years and years. No one bought it. Sure as shit, I was there the day someone bought it. I was there for something for myself, and I watched a guy walk up and point at it, and every now and again over the years you'd see someone point at it. And they got it down, and he's looking at it, and I'm like, oh, here's another sucker that's just going to pretend like he's going to buy it. Next thing I know, this guy whips out this wad and just pays for the guitar and put it in the case and walked out happy as shit. And the Guitar Center was, people were a little bit shocked, like, holy fuck, this guy bought this guitar. It's been sitting here for years. But it was a beautiful, beautiful classic Stratocaster.
I'm envious of that guy.
Yeah. He's somewhere out there loving it right now, because that was about 10 years ago, so he's really liking it now.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I want to throw one more song on for that. After that, we're going to come back. We're going to have you guys say where we can check you out at, who you would like to thank, and we're going to close out for the evening. The only song we have left right now is Silly Boy, and that's what we're going to jump into, guys, and we'll be right back on Uncovering the Underground.
Let me tell you about a boy I knew. I thought he was mine, but that wasn't true. I wanted him to love me like he said. He thought he was God's gift to girls with his pretty blue eyes and a head full of curls. He wanted me to feel like I was alone without him, but silly boy who's laughing now. You wanted me to be left out. Silly boy, where are you now? You're still a little boy, and I'm a woman now. Such a silly little boy, and I'm a woman now. You taught me so much about men. I really thought you were my best friend. A coward only hides behind his lies. Lucky me, I found someone new who really is better at everything too. And now you are the one who is alone without me, but silly boy who's laughing now. You wanted me to feel left out. Silly boy, where are you now? You're still a little boy, have that power over me. Oh, silly boy who's laughing now. You wanted me to be let down. Silly boy, where are you now? You're still a little boy, and I'm a woman now. Such a silly little boy, and I'm a woman now. And I'm a woman now. Such a silly little boy. Goodbye, silly boy.
And that was Silly Boy by Aurora and Peril, our guest for the evening here on Uncovering the Underground. If you're just tuning in now, don't fret after the show is over. You can certainly go back and listen from the beginning to the entire episode, whether you want to stream it or download it to your device for later on. I ask that you do so. You'll love the entire episode, and not only this episode, but all past episodes as well, so make sure you check them out. There's something absolutely for everyone. We come to you each and every single week here on Uncovering the Underground with a different guest, so make sure you click the follow button so you're always staying up to date with what we're bringing you. If you like the music that you have heard tonight, we're about to tell you where you can check the band out at, where you can pick up their album at, everything associated with that, and we ask that you give them a follow and a like and show some love to these guys and gal, because they did a great job on their EP that they released at the end of the year. They did a great job winning the Music Mania Challenge recently on the competition that they entered, and they're doing some great things that's certainly going to stick out to you, so keep an eye on them. They have a lot more in store for you. Guys, where can we check you out? What platforms are you on?
So we're on everything. I think everything.
Everything.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then to hear us, we're on Spotify, iTunes, all of those ones, and YouTube, and yeah, we're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So if you're out there, click on whatever site you can find, type their name in, and you are going to find them. Now, question for you, so it might be an important detail for the fans. Should they put it all as one word with dots separating the word, or can they do it as normal?
I think it's actually stylized with the dots in it, but if you type it as normal, I think it comes up too.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
Good. That's an important thing, because I know some people with certain characters that they use, it will not come up unless typed that exact way. So folks, just type in Aurora and Peril, find them, search them out, give them a like and a follow. Lastly, folks, we're going to have them tell us who they would like to thank. I'm going to give you the announcements of next week's guest, and then we'll close out for the evening. Who is it that you would like to thank for everything that you guys have going on right now?
Me personally, I'll just do a shout out to the band that convinced me to sing again. They are called the Cabiners. They are fantastic, and they are also out of North Bay, Ontario. And yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else for you guys?
I would like to thank my partner at the label, Amanda, because she puts out a lot of the work, and she's the one that did all the graphic design, and she does most of kind of the management side of what we do. So a lot of what we have going on is because of her hard work.
Yes.
So yeah, I'd like to throw a shout out to her. I'd like to throw a shout out to anyone who's supported us, given us a chance to listen or a like or any of that kind of stuff. Like it means a lot when people, we put a lot of effort and heart into this, so it means a lot when other people, just give it a shot.
No, absolutely.
Sure.
That's everything. That's the lifeblood and fuel that keeps bands in the underground and all over the world, no matter what kind of scene they're in, going and pushing forward. I mean, that is certainly the most important and vital thing. How about you guys? Anybody else you'd like to thank?
No, I think that's about everybody. I mean, the Ego and Pessimism Records has really been the driving force that's gotten us together, and I think that's the biggest thing for me, anyway.
Absolutely.
You're
Well,
welcome,
folks,
Chris.
Well, folks, you heard it. Like I said, give them a like and a follow. Pick up their recent album that they dropped. Be looking out for upcoming projects from them. And next week, we have on the show Flatline the Demon, a hip-hop artist that you're going to want to check out. And then we are bringing you a slew of wild guests throughout June and July. I'm throwing you all over the place over the next 2 months, so stay tuned. As I said, we always have a great guest, always have someone that you need to know about, and we uncover the underground together. And tonight was no different. I want to thank Aurora and Peril for coming on the show tonight, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Thank you
for having us.
Thanks.
Take care.